Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday Tidbits. I'm Teri. Marty is behind the camera today. We wanted to start out by hanging out in the bathroom. For those of you who know us and have been in the shop, you should know that I like to redecorate the bathroom with every season, and I do it simply, but I like to think effectively. So one of the first things I always do is, you can see there's a little teeny valance up here, and we're going to talk more about that fabric in a minute. But I want to also show you our wonderful spring day out there. When I got up this morning, it was a flipping white out. I thought it was foggy out. That's how white it was. But I got my spring shirt out and decided we can make this happen still. So we are now going to move to the other side of the store, get out of the bathroom, and move over here. And hopefully not see too much of
And
the
not
mess.
see too much of the disaster area.
So we're going to start over here. Oh, well, let me do the other parts. So what we decided to do today is we're going to do spring. It's, even though spring is not quite here, obviously, it's supposed to be 65, I think, on Wednesday. So fret not, it is coming. So what we decided to do is we did a whole bunch of spring and Easter, wool and cotton, a whole bunch of stuff that we thought maybe you would be interested in. So we're going to start out up here. Now this is the fabric that I used in the bathroom for my valance. So it's a border stripe, and this is that 60-degree triangle table runner that I love to do because it is so very, very fast. And when I'm changing the bathroom as often as I do, it's very, very good to do. So this is one, and we do have the kits for this. In the kits, you have enough fabric to do this table runner, which is about 40 to 45 inches long. And this is the leftover pieces, plus the valance in the bathroom, plus the backing and the binding for the table runner. The rest of the stuff is just what you've got at home. But anyways, I do this, so I have one and I just rotate them all through
So what
the
you're
year.
saying is you do the table runner and then the leftovers are
Bonus projects,
right.
in essence, really.
Your topper
yes.
and the curtain.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. This one also, if you have seen some of our tidbits, we have shown you, there's a whole series of these. They're called, well, crabby cottontails. So this one is the poor little cat that's in the Easter Bunny outfit.
He looks so happy.
He does look happy, and yeah, it really was fun to do. But so I threw this together yesterday, and I didn't, rather than go and pick 5 different fabrics for eggs, what I did, these are, let's call these, what are those, not Tiffany eggs, what are those eggs?
Oh.
You know, of Russian
Yeah,
eggs,
I know.
whatever they're called. Anyways, this is a Jason Yenter fabric. It was a border stripe. So I just went and cut out a couple different fussy cut eggs, and I have these beautiful Fabergé eggs.
I was just going to say
Fabergé eggs.
Woo-hoo. Yay,
Yes,
the brain is not completely gone.
Yeah, there's my Fabergé eggs on the little crabby cottontails. Moving on, this is another one this one Marty did, and this was actually a 16 by 19.
16 by 18, yeah.
16 by 18 wall hanging, and we decided it didn't quite do it justice, so we decided to go to our handy dandy copier. We blew everything up, and voila, this is what you did. We decided to use a bunch of ginghams. We used to always laugh about ginghams, but these are really cute in here, so it worked.
And it's called
really,
Spring Break.
Spring Break, because the bunnies are making a break for it, we think. That's Marty's
That's my interpretation, and I'm sticking with
That's Marty's interpretation.
And it's funny, I don't know if maybe it'll turn out different, but it looks a lot duller through the camera than it does an actual real person.
It always does.
Yeah.
It always does.
It's a little bit brighter than that.
And
not
then
quite so dirgy.
Up here we have a project that we're not quite sure what we're going to do. Why do we always have to change things?
I don't know.
Darn it.
We're stupid that way.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a pillow, but then Marty got it to this point and she decided, well, would make a really cute wall hanging. Which would that be more useful? So what we're going to do in the kits, because we're going to have kits of all of this stuff, as always. When we do the kits for this, there'll be enough fabric. If you want to turn it into a pillow, you can. If you want to leave it as a little wall hanging, you can just bind it and be done. If you decide to leave it as a wall hanging, the little butterflies up here are dimensional. We decided your head would flatten it if you put it on a pillow, because even though it's just a good pillow, people will still put their heads on it. Who's kidding?
So that's
whom?
fluttering butterflies.
Fluttering butterflies. Then we have, this one is a combination of flannel and prairie cloth as the background, which is a nice primitive looking, meaty, just a nice different look. And then we used flannel for all of the appliques. So this one says spring down here. It's got a little bit of very, very rustic stitching with the bunny and the carrot up there.
And you can see this was stitched like we did the baby quilts last week. I mean, it's just gridded in the background, so it's super, super easy.
Now that's one tidbit tip that we need to talk about. Sometimes we say to ourselves, you know, it'd be so much easier if we gridded this all off before we put the appliques on, because then you would not have to be stopping and stopping and stopping. The problem with that is 9 times out of 10, that quilting line will show underneath your applique, and it's very distracting. So as much as we would love to do that, it's not something that we have not found it works really well. So you just have to suck it up and do it this way, all right?
And look at that beautiful binding.
And the binding, which is one of Marty's wonderful stripes.
Don't hate the stripe.
No, what is it? There's some other saying, but anyways, it doesn't matter. This is another one that actually is a series. This is Woolen Needle, right? And if you remember last fall, we did one, had the welcome on the left-hand side again, and it was corn stalks going up to a barn on a hill. So now that would be the fall summary one. This would be your spring one, the daffodils, and are these crocuses maybe?
I'm wondering if they're crocuses or violets. I'm not sure
We're not quite sure, but it's an imaginary purple flower.
There you go.
And then this is going to be all pussy willows, and you can use your imagination.
Yes.
When I was cutting those little puppies out, there's gazillions.
And it's usually when I do a wool project, I lay the whole thing out because you really want to do that. But on this one, because it's a little bit larger, I think it's going to be like a 16 by 32 when it's done. I didn't want to do that because those little pussy willows would be falling all over my living room, and to hunt under them under the couch is just not a good idea. So I wanted to put the big stuff on, stitch that down, then do the pussy willows, and then get those done next. So
worse than finding them under your couch would be taking the cat hair off of them.
Oh yeah, well I do that anyways. I do that anyways.
Yeah, I know, but still. Okay, so this is one that's in progress.
Yes.
You will see it done at some point.
Shortly.
Yes.
Hopefully.
And actually this is nice because see, this comes off and you can stitch this part separately and then you put that on.
That's done.
All right, this one is actually cotton and it says find the beauty in every day. Actually, this is supposed to be a quilt. Again, go back to we can't do anything the way the pattern said. We decided that this would look much nicer as either a nice large wall hanging or a drape over your couch type of deal. Big was just not necessary for this one, although you could, but we did not. So in the kits that we're going to be doing, oh, I just noticed there's a cat there.
Well, that's what I wanted to come a little closer because I didn't think people were actually seeing. So with the black, you've got the cat.
So the panel goes out to here. So you basically add this pieced border on, bind it, or quilt it, bind it, and you've got a very beautiful hydrangea.
Yeah, even though it doesn't look like it, those were all squares in the border.
Yeah, she does. This is a square.
That's a square.
This is a square, and then she just snowballs. Kind of funky, weird, but it worked.
Yes, it worked.
It worked, right? Okay, now we're going to go through the table, and I'm going to be lifting stuff up and putting it down. This we thought was real cute. It's called Sweetest. Spring Blooms Are the Sweetest. This was fun, and it was all machine done. We are having a little bit of conflict about there should be their eyes on the cat or not. I think it kind of looks a little, but you can choose.
You like eyes on your thing.
I do like eyes on my thing. I remember back in the Amish days when I first started out and nothing had eyes. Ooh. But anyway, so this one, Sweetest Blooms Are the Sweetest, a little cat and a bluebird. Just something very simple, very, very sweet. And then we have, this is a wool applique. Am I holding it the right side up? Okay. And you might want to get a little closer on these. These are from Granny's Legacy is the company. And one thing I love about their stuff is they love beads just as much as I do. So if you can see on here, there's beads right here. Beads right here. There's beads on the bottom. What?
It's taking time to focus.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
All right. So there's beads here. And there's beads on the bottom of the bleeding heart. And if you really wanted to be fun, you could put beads instead of French knots on all of those little, we think they're hydrangeas again, we're not quite sure.
Or lilac.
Lilac, one or the other. But then this one, so these are companion pieces.
Well, I think the reason why she did that is because you can see on the bigger one, it's the cutout from the basket. So she didn't want to waste that much wool, which I gave her credit.
Yep. And then this one has a dimensional rose on it. Oh, another thing, can you get up a little closer again? Here's another tip for today. I had all these little pussy willows. Is it better if I lay it down flat?
Yes.
Pussy willows. And I was like, I'm not going to buttonhole around every one of those little puppies. So what I did, if you look, I did a big old lazy daisy, excuse me, stitch in the middle of each one, which I thought was very good idea.
You're just a marvel.
I am
Teri.
a marvel.
You are just a
Just
marvel.
ask me. Just ask me. Was there anything else? Oh, and I'm sorry, can you come back again?
If I make these people dizzy, it's your fault.
Again, on the little hearts, I was not going to do go around those. So what I did is I did a V stitch and then a straight line down through the middle and put the bead on it. Use your imagination. You don't have to do buttonhole on everything. So I'll flop that over there. This is, and we have to be very careful about these two. The reason being is the buttons are glued on because I didn't have time to stitch them on. These are coordinates, a companion piece. We have the bunny with the chicks for a table runner. And again, this was all appliqued by machine.
This one is called Hello Spring, wasn't it?
Hey, there was a lot of Hello Springs and Welcome Springs, yeah. And again, it's got the Easter eggs on, but this would go for quite a while in spring. And then this was the companion little wall quilt that goes with it. And you know what I did, and I think it's kind of a funky little look, on these whiskers. A lot of machines have, it's called a triple stitch, where it goes 1, 2, 3, back 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or back 2, whatever it does.
Back 2, or else you'd be just going over yourself.
Right, and it gave it a little bit more oomph as far as showing, and it actually made it look a little textured. Plus, I didn't have to do it by hand. Yay! So that's, we think, Hello Spring. We'll have these all listed with the actual names on the website. Then we have some wool. Here's some more wool. This was one of my favorites. I did this last year. This is called Peekaboo Bunny. And it's just so very, very soft pastel-y. And nope, no beads on this one. Just lots of French knots. Okay. Got rid of that. And then here's another bunny. But this one is called Hair, something hair.
No.
Speaking of cat hair.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
I can't remember what it's called. But
Yeah.
anyways, this would definitely go all year round.
Yeah, and if you put it down flat for me. You want to talk about your French knots and your lazy daisies.
Mm-hmm.
Holy Hannah, there is a boatload of them around there. But I did like
Oh,
those
it's
little
right
flowers
around-
around
yeah.
the edge too.
Plus, I
Very
like
cute.
the center too.
Yep, and each one of them have a little wreath around their neck. You would think
Very
we would.
nice.
You would think we would know what the names of these things were.
No, we don't.
We
Okay.
don't.
This is another one, and this one I think is called Spring Flowers.
Yeah, something like that.
We don't know quite what flower they are, but it's just a nice little perky tidbit of color that you don't see a lot. Okay. All right. This one I did last year, but we thought, because it's spring, this is, because there was a whole series of these. There's four seasons, and this is the spring one, and it fits perfectly on Marty has a round table.
Yeah, that's a 28-inch diameter, so it really works on my kitchen table very nicely.
And you know, as big as this is, it did not take that long to do because it's just the outside.
That's because I laid it out, not you.
I know. And can you come close again?
Mm-hmm.
Are we getting too long? Okay. If I want you to look at how we did the stems or the whatever these things are.
Vines?
I did a buttonhole stitch, but I went all the way across. And I did not go up and down both sides. I just went one side and I went all the way across. Excuse me, talk for a minute, Marty.
So basically, she did kind of like a huge buttonhole stitch that went across the whole vine and did not go down the other side, so it was not ladder stitch. Just it basically got it anchored in place, and that was it. And then you can also see on the berries that are here, I think that's called, what, a wagon wheel stitch?
It is similar, yeah.
So basically crossing, and then a French knot in the middle.
I think I even gave up on the French knots after a while.
Oh, did you?
Oh, maybe not, no. And then this is just a nice, beautiful chain stitch.
I love the chain stitch
with
those
the
Vildani
variegated threads. Yeah, and same thing in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've not over that enough.
Okay.
This is another little project we found, and it's called Hello Spring. And this actually was done on a tea towel. So this is the tea towel, and they leave it as a tea towel. This is what they do. But I'm not a tea towel person, But what we decided to do is we decided to make it into a pillow. This is a great project for a kid, not the stitching part, but if you ever want them to do a sewing project, because all you do, and I think we've talked about this before.
We
All
used to
you
do this
do
with
with
4-H
this-
kids all the time.
Yeah, is you go right sides together, you stitch across the end, the long end, you turn it right side out so it looks like this. So this end would be finished, and then you chuck your pillow form in, and if you see, we've got really fun springy colored, you tie these buttons on, and you have a very cute pillow that a child could do very easily.
And for a child, you could just do a simple applique on it for them.
Yeah, yeah, or a piece block or
You know,
whatever you want to do.
Heart or a star or something like that.
And then if you ever have to wash the top, then you just snip the button threads, pull the form out, and gently wash it. Don't chuck anything in the washer. All right, we're getting to the end, I promise. And then, let's see, we'll do those last. This is another thing. You have to understand, when I was growing up, sorry, I'm a lot older than Marty is, but we used to live in the village of Canasarega. And my grandfather had to have his sheep. He called them his nannies. So every spring, if there were any orphan sheep, or if there were twins, the mother would only take the one. We, living in the village, had a little part of our garage penned off, and we would have lambs, and they would be running around the yard. So spring to me always meant lambs. So this one to me, even though it doesn't say lambs or spring, it just to me sang spring. So this is called sheep pennies, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost done. It's just got to have eyeballs on it, I think. And then I will be done with that one. So just in time for spring. And then I think this might be our last one that we have to bother you with. So this was a line called Bohemian Breeze, we think. And this had a really pretty border stripe. So what we did is we found a pattern, and you do this all, you make the top, you put this little puppy in. So see, this is a flap. You quilt it. You flip that over. This is quilted, although Marty wants to do more quilting on it.
Yeah, for placemats, I like to heavily quilt them just because they get through the washer so many times.
Then you quilt it and you bind it, and you have a little placemat that this is where your utensils go.
Silverware goes.
Isn't it? I keep saying the word sweet, and I don't know why.
Well, and this was like, and you could refer back to it. I did the bindings by machine just because I'm sorry. I'm not going to take time to hand do bindings on a placemat.
It's not
This
worth
is
it.
one of those areas that I'm like, okay, yeah, do it by machine, get it done. And if you needed any suggestions on that, refer back to, I think it was the week before St. Patrick's Day, where we did the lucky mug rug. Because we showed you how to do bindings by machine out there.
Right. We did. Okay, so I think that's all we have to show you today. We did want to do a couple shout outs, as stupid as that. One of them was for a lady from Mississippi called, and her name was
Miss Glenda.
Miss Glenda, and she called and left us a message on her answering machine, and we laughed all week.
Yes, so thank you for that. You really tickled our funny bone.
Yeah, it really tickled our funny bone. She had a couple comments to make about common sense, and our mother would have loved that because she always prided herself on her common sense. And then I had another lady from Iowa this morning called, who said that she's been watching our Tidbit. So I'm happy that people are seeing this, that Marty and I aren't doing it just for our own edification, I suppose you could say. So anyways, I've jabbered long enough. I can't think of anything else to say, or I could, but I won't. We will see you next week, and next week is, if everything goes well, we are going to show you the new Kim Deal line and all of her projects. Bye.